A lot of you have seen all of the Faze drama that's been going on Twitter over the last couple days. And Faze is something I've talked about quite a bit over the last year.
Faze have been big for years. I remember used to watch Faze back in the day. They've been
from
big for
their
years.
stock absolutely flatlining to the point
Call
now
of
where
Duty,
it's basically just
they
a
literally
sad
stole all that
joke.
Call
Just
of
look at
Duty-
this
Call of
graph, it
Duty
puts a
shit.
tear in your eyes. It's more tragic than the
Jesus,
ending
what
to
happened
Marley and Me. It's just been crazy to see them circle the drain like this and have this wild fall from grace. Because they're one of the very few gaming-focused brands that branched out into the mainstream. Like, most people have probably heard of Faze at some point in their life, even people that aren't associated with gaming.
Facts.
So they really did blow
Faze
up in a big way. And now there's like a war going on between like the founders of Faze versus the corporate suits that now control Faze, and it's all just been bubbling over and becoming this massive shitstorm. And everyone's getting covered in the filth. It's getting stinky. Now, the first domino that fell in this Faze soap opera is the OGs came forward, like Faze, Rain, and Banks, and started criticizing the brand overall, talking about how it's become soulless and lame and just generally horrible. The main talking point is how the founders have lost control of the company to these zombies in suits. They just don't understand the space. And they also show no respect to the founders that brought it there in the first place. They overrule them. They have no real decision-making power. Thus, the decision phase, the direction Faze has been going over the last few years has been a negative one. And most people can probably agree with that. Faze hasn't exactly been hitting home.
What's my man's name? The guy that's always in cars and that. What's his name? He was with Mr. Beast and he's short and he has a beard. What's my man's name? I forgot his name.
Runs recently over the last couple years. So the founders have been talking about how disappointed they are with Faze in its current state. And then Faze Rain recently has just been leaking tons of information, like internal stuff, financials. He's been leaking more than the faucet at my college dorm room. He has been going hog wild with tons of information. And most recently, he was focusing on their numbers, like their actual numbers with their spend as well as what they're making. He made a video going over their financials, talking about how much they spend on certain games in the esports space, as well as the lack of return they see from it, even disclosing McMurk's salary for being on Faze, which is like $1 million a year, and he just goes over how much they're spending and how they're not seeing any of that money. It's just fucking vanishing into thin air and just like literally bleeding them dry on finances. According to a lot of his numbers here, they're spending over $700,000 a month on like esports stuff. That's crazy, and they're not seeing any money come back into the company, which isn't exactly an eyebrow raiser. This is something everyone speculated for a long time because it's become very clear to actually every single person with eyes that the entire esports scene just doesn't make any money. What's wrong, Io? I don't know why the esports scene is so shit for generating profit. I have no idea. I don't have the answers. What's wrong? I've upset Io mentioning this. Because it is heartbreaking. Like, esports is a scene that you get in for passion, and you see a lot of orgs start to close their doors because they just can't stay afloat. It's very expensive, and you don't make anything. So Rain was going over their numbers, which I do believe because, like, the information he's been leaking has so far been confirmed.
Fuck that, give me that money. How can you spend 700k a month? Nigga, give me that money. I need it. 700k? You crazy.
Accurate. And he's just talking about like how much money they're losing, and it's a lot. Over 700,000 clams, over 700,000 pristine doubloons is a ton of cash. That's nuts. To convert that to Robux, I wouldn't even know where to start. You'd need like fucking 50 zeros at the end of that number. It's a lot of money that they are pissing away and not getting anything back from. So he started revealing these numbers. More OGs came forward to talk about how upsetting it is to see the direction that the brand has gone and that it's completely lost its identity. The people at the top of the food chain don't understand the culture, so it's trash. All of these statements from the OGs then led to this like Marvel civil war within Faze, where you had the OGs versus the people at the top and also new generation Faze members. So a lot of the audience was on the OG side and a lot of the audience on the new side. And it's just been this constant clashing. And yesterday, it really festered into something pretty foul. So just to give context here, it started with this tweet from Faze Clan where they said, "We want more women in Faze Clan." To which Faze Rain replied saying, "Spoiler alert, it's Grace, and the only reason I heard was because she was on one episode of Stranger Things." He's referring to Grace Van Dien, who is a streamer named Bluefy and also was in Stranger Things. So it turns out he was 100% right, because yesterday Faze announced that Grace Van Dien is joining the Faze family. Now, this all led to a lot of hubbub,
I never saw
a lot of discussion, and a lot of controversy. And with a very public fallout between the OG Faze founders and current Faze, people were already on edge. It also really didn't help with the Faze tweet about wanting more women in the organization, because that got the community excited, thinking that Faze was about to make a big signing from someone who's been grinding in the scene for a long time, working hard for an opportunity like joining Faze, and then turns out they had already made their decision when they had made that tweet. So that was kind of a bad look, and it didn't do anything good for Grace because it put her in an uncomfortable position where the community was upset that she got the opportunity being a relatively new streamer. They thought that they had signed her just because she's a celebrity. So some members of the community got upset at Grace directly, which I think is super misguided. There's plenty to critique about Faze signings and business decisions, but Grace didn't do anything wrong here. She does stream often and had this opportunity to join a huge org. Yes, being an actress did obviously help her get this opportunity for sure, but at the very least she seems excited about it and does actively stream, which is already more than you can say for half of their celebrity signings. Like Snoop Dogg, for example. They paid him a fat load of money, as well as stock in Faze, in order for him to be on board the Faze family. And all he ever did was take a single photo with them, and then the word Faze never left his lips again. He must have been hit by a Men in Black neuralizer that erased his memory of Faze Clan entirely, because he never did anything with them.
How much did they pay him?
In spite of getting all of this money and this stock. And it wasn't just him. They've done this for multiple other celebrities too. Like Kyler Murray, who I'm pretty sure all of you watching didn't even know was part of Faze Clan at any point. I didn't until I watched Ludwig's Mogul Mail on it. I had no idea Kyler Murray signed with Faze, but he did. Kyler Murray never even mentioned Faze Clan a single time, not once, after joining. But in this case, Grace is an active streamer, thus will be presenting the Faze brand to her audience, and she seems extremely excited about doing things in collaboration with Faze, which is infinitely more than any celebrity that Faze has signed recently. So I really feel that the anger directed towards Grace is just a little weird. The focus should instead be placed on how out of touch Faze has become with the decisions they make. For example, this was also mentioned in Ludwig's Mogul Mail, but it's something I've talked about as well, where Faze had that whole super expensive reality show where, you know, who wants to be the next Faze member? So you want to be a Faze superstar, do you? Well, hop on board the Polar Express here for this Faze show. What? And they put so much money into it, and only like 6 people ever watched it. Like, they dumped money into this completely geriatric, dumb ideas like that reality show that no one cares about, no one gets excited for. And all of their YouTube content is beyond dead. And no matter how much mouth-to-mouth they give it, they can't revive it. They can't get that heartbeat back. No matter how much they try, because they just don't know what they're doing or what direction to take Faze. It's become very corporate, and most people don't vibe with it anymore. And it's also led to new Faze members fighting with the old Faze members. So they're like actually butting heads and, you know, throwing down in the Twitter replies against each other. So it's just been so much fighting and drama with Faze because the founders lost control of the company, and the direction it's gone has only further decayed the brand to the point where it's at, 55-cent stock price and kind of just like a joke in the industry outside of some of their esports teams. Like, they are still doing really well in the games they're in for the most part. Not entirely all of them, but a large chunk of them, their esports teams are still top of the line. So it's just a shame to see how bad things are behind closed doors at Faze. And now those doors aren't even fucking closed anymore. Those doors have been kicked open. The entire public is being exposed to all of the dirty laundry of Faze, and all of it's happening publicly. I am still shocked Faze Rain was even able to release all of the information he has without getting sued. I would have thought they would have had so many NDAs out the wazoo on Faze Rain. But he's just been revealing everything. So I'm starting to believe they probably just forgot about him and all of the founders, so they never even bothered to NDA them. So he'll probably just continue to share shit without repercussion. So I'm pretty excited to see what else he starts bringing to the public eye with Faze. But anyway, I kind of want to talk about all this because I just find it so fascinating and generally sad to see the state of Faze. Like I said, it was one of the few gaming brands that broke into the mainstream and had like a very wide appeal.
Everyone
to
knows
people
with them
even
Lil
outside
Durk,
of the space,
every
which
Faze.
is nothing shy of.
How much money did they fucking pay Lil
To
Durk?
see what it's become is just
What the
wild,
fuck,
and to see how it continues to unfold is shocking. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit. I don't know how it recovers. I really don't. Like, even if it does get back into the hands of the OGs, I still don't exactly know how they right the ship right now. I don't know how they fix all the damage that's been done to the brand. They probably have to start over, like at the very bare bones level, and build it all again, because it's just been so tarnished, and they've lost so much money as well. I just don't know exactly how you fix it. But anyway, I just wanted to go over it all. That's about it. See ya.
How do you spend $700K a month, dude? Run me some money, please. I need it, bro. What are you doing?